What's the craziest way someone has plotted against you? My roommate Jake and I split everything 50-50. Rent, groceries, utilities, we had it down to a science. Until I noticed something weird with our electric bill. It jumped from $80 to $240 in 1 month. I confronted Jake about it, and he just shrugged. Maybe the AC's broken or something. But here's the thing. It was October. We hadn't used the AC in weeks. Jake would disappear into his room for hours with this weird humming sound coming through the walls. The sound got louder every day, like machinery running constantly. I pressed my ear to his door and heard what sounded like multiple fans spinning. One morning, I watched him sneak 3 energy drinks into his room before locking the door. He started taking longer showers, claiming he was overheating from studying. I checked our thermostat. His room was consistently 15 degrees hotter than the rest of the apartment. The humming noise kept me awake at night, vibrating through the shared wall. I knocked on his door asking what was going on, but he'd turn up music to drown me out. The apartment's main circuit breaker started tripping randomly, always during peak hours. I'd flip it back on and immediately hear his door slam shut. Jake began avoiding me completely, leaving early and coming home after midnight. He started paying his half of rent in cash, which he'd never done before. One day, I smelled burning plastic coming from his room and panicked about a fire. I pounded on his door, screaming about smoke, but he yelled back that he was just cooking. The smell was like melting electronics, not food. I threatened to call the fire department if he didn't open up. He cracked the door just enough to show his face, sweat dripping down his forehead. Behind him, I glimpsed multiple computer screens glowing in the darkness. The next morning, while he was at work, I decided I'd had enough. I used my spare key and opened his door. My jaw dropped to the floor. This man had turned his entire room into a cryptocurrency mining operation. 6 high-powered computers, heating the room like a furnace. Industrial fans were duct taped to his window, desperately trying to cool the setup, all plugged into our shared electrical system. I took photos of everything. I didn't confront him immediately. Instead, I hatched a plan. The next day, I told him I was visiting my parents for the weekend. He got this excited look in his eyes, probably thinking he'd have unlimited power access. I packed my bags and left Friday morning, making sure he saw me go, but I only drove around the block and parked where I could watch our apartment. Sure enough, within an hour, I heard his mining operation kick into overdrive. The humming sound was now audible from outside the building. Then I snuck back into the apartment through the back entrance. I crept to the main electrical panel in our hallway, and I flipped the main circuit breaker, cutting power to the entire apartment. Then I left again and waited. Sunday evening, I returned from my trip to find Jake frantically trying to restart his computers. His face was red with panic, sweat stains covering his shirt. "Dude, the power went out. I lost thousands in mining profits. My equipment might be fried." I looked him dead in the eye with the most innocent expression I could muster. "Weird. Maybe the electricity's broken or something." His face went completely white as my words sank in. That's when I pulled out the real electric bill and handed it to him. His half was highlighted in red marker, $120 instead of his usual $40. "This is your actual share of what you owe me for the past 3 months. He stared at the bill, then at me, then back at the bill. "How did you?" "Jake, you turned our apartment into a space heater." He tried to argue, claiming it was just his computer for school. I pulled out my phone and showed him the photos I'd taken. That night, he started frantically packing his computers into boxes. He moved out the next week without saying another word.